What's up, real estate team builders? Lars Hedenborg here, founder of Real Estate B School. And man, if you missed the last episode, Christine Lee, who really didn't get into all of her accolades and achievements in business, and she's probably one of the smartest business people, men, women, the whole group that I've ever met. Starting out as a solo real estate agent, scaling a really big team, pivoting into technology, and just doing some amazing things. And regardless of your beliefs, so we went deep in on like how to connect with God, how to hear from God, and all of that. I want to take that theme and talk about like how do you bring like a sense of peace and clarity, and like with all of the noise that's happening around us, take that combined with not only just like the noise, the news, the Netflix, all that stuff, but then also getting distracted by like what everyone else is doing. So how do you sort of live in a world like my world? This is my world. You can see me on YouTube. It's my world is super small versus the world and what's happening. So the cadence for peace and clarity, that's the official title of this episode. And here's what I want to share with you is I've done it all wrong. So I've made all the mistakes you can make in like working too many hours and pissing off, loved ones, not pissing them off, but letting them down. I've made the mistakes as far as like wasting money on things that don't work. When I started adding people into my world, making, just people mistakes and mismanaging and, profits over people and not, leading from a servant's heart. So I've made all the mistakes. But one thing I've done really well is that I've always had a very, very clear vision of where I was going. And I always did a pretty good job of chunking it down. And so this clarity that I'm talking about comes from, being able to have a clear vision, bring it into a plan, identify projects, and then kind of just get to work on those projects. And so today we're going to break down what that actually looks like. And so, and at the end, I'm going to give you probably two things to actually start doing on a regular basis to get traction and to bring more peace and clarity into your business world without sacrificing your sort of like growth mindedness. Like we're wired in these ways where we can hardly help ourselves. We can't help but want to grow. And a lot of times it's growth for growth's sake. And there's nothing attached to it in terms of, meaning or purpose or real, like, a legacy sort of impact behind it. So the first thing is a 3-year vision. So we're going to focus mainly on the business side of things, but all of this can be broken down and applied into areas of your personal life as well. Like your physical body. You can have a vision for where you want your physical body to go, but let's just stick to business. So you need to be really clear as you sit here today, as you're listening, as you're taking out your clarity breaks or your weekly planning sessions or magic time. Those are 3 things I'm going to teach you today. You need to be clear about where you're going. So a North Star to like the work you're doing today. How do you attach a 3-year vision? So let's say you're selling 50 homes. You just started a team, right? And you want to go to 250 homes 3 years from now. It's great. It's been done. It's been but many, many times before. People in my world have done that. More often than not, though, there's nothing that attaches the 50 to 500 idea with what do I do today? So it starts with a 3-year vision, but paint it clearly. We just closed 250 homes. Me and my team are having, dinner and drinks on top of this hotel in Uptown Charlotte. And, it feels so great. My wife is by my side and I'm out of production and I'm working 30 hours a week on average. We vacationed 5 weeks last year off the grid. My team handled everything. My team members are crushing it, making more money than ever. They have balanced lives. Like paint the picture of what it looks like. These team members are running this parts of the business and that sort of thing. So once you have that clear 3-year vision, and it comes with numbers too. So, 50 transactions going to 250 transactions is, whatever, 75 million of volume at 300,000. My gross margin is this, my net margin is this, I'm working these many hours, I'm taking this much time off, and there's those sort of things. Then we break it down into a 1-year plan. And this gets a little bit more involved. It's hard for me to go into all of this. This is part of the basis of real estate B school. But you need to be clear, like, okay, in order to get to 250 and have that lifestyle 3 years from now, this is what has to happen this year. Like, no matter what, I need to get my database system together. I need to get a social marketing platform going. I need to have a recruiting system because I'm going to need talent. Like, these are big monster boulders. They're not even rocks. They're boulders, massive projects that we need to implement, systems that need to be running in the business so that we can move this forward. You've got to identify those big things, and you got to decide. So the first year is going to look like this. I'm going to go from 50 to 100. I've got to hire 4 buyer agents to keep 2. My part-time admin needs to go to full-time, needs to get their license. Whatever the thing is, detail it. But you're building the 1-year plan with the 3-year vision in mind. Big difference. Big difference. Most agents don't even have a 1-year plan, but if they do, they're not building it with, it's the first of 3 steps to achieve the 3-year. All right. So once you have the 1-year plan, you're just going to chunk it down into quarters. So 3-year vision, 1-year plan, we call 90-day world. The 90-day world gets a little bit more involved, but essentially you're going to look at that 1-year plan and decide what, there's some boulders in there, we call them, but what rocks or projects must we implement in these next 90 days so that we can move forward in a meaningful way? Because this is the first step of 4 steps of this first year of 3 years, right? So we're sort of chunking this thing down, and then there's a weekly rhythm. So once you pick those projects, those rocks, there's a weekly rhythm. You're looking at each rock and you're deciding what's the next step or steps that we need to take. And you're committing to no more than 6 we call them weekly commitments, but they're work on your business commitments. They're not like more production or take a listing or new business development time or anything like that. They're systems that you're installing in your business, and you're making commitments around moving those systems or those projects forward. So that's weekly. And then the daily, you're making a top 3 commitment. Like, these 3 things have to happen today outside of the whirlwind of real estate in order for me to crush this day, to win this week, 13 weeks in a quarter, to achieve the 90 days that feeds into the year, that feeds into the 3 years. So that's, like, in a nutshell, how this system works. Surely requires that once a year, you're taking a longer session just to think about the 3-year vision, develop the 1-year plan. That's a daily, that's a whole day that you spend once a quarter, or once a year rather. Once a quarter, you're probably taking a half day to kind of check out the status of your projects, if you hit your numbers for the quarter, those sorts of things, where you need to adjust, that sort of thing. But I want to talk more importantly about the weekly cadence and the daily cadence. So in the weekly cadence, 2 things have to happen every week. Well, there's a whole thing on time blocking and all of that. I'm not going to get into that today, but 2 big things: a weekly planning session and a clarity break. Weekly planning session is you're literally looking back 1 week and what went well, what didn't go well. Did you accomplish your commitments? And then you're looking forward. What do I need to commit to this coming week so I can be on task with my projects, or on point with my projects, and I can sort of feed into the quarter, into the year, into the 3 years. So that's the weekly planning session. The clarity break is just 60 minutes, no technology. You're just sitting, probably with a cup of coffee and a journal, and you are just simply going through what's working and what's not working in my business and my life. Those 2 sessions go into your calendar. The only other thing I will say is something that I did not come up with this next one. Craig Ballantyne wrote a book called The Perfect Week Formula. I don't remember all of the book. One thing I took away that has changed everything, it's called Magic Time. I get up a little earlier than I used to when nobody is up, and I work on my most important project for 90 minutes. I use a Pomodoro timer, which is, it just counts 25 minutes where I'm focused, and then I take a 5-minute break, 25 on, 5-minute break, 25 on, 5-minute break for 90 minutes. My most important project that's going to move me forward the fastest once I get it done. Quick example, I had something on my list for 6 months. Truly, I was the only person in real estate B school that could finish this project. Most things I can leverage out, but this was not that. I was actually building what I call now agent attraction funnels for folks in my EXP organization. So people come to EXP, they're like, I don't know how to recruit. And I put together a system where they could easily attract people into the company and earn residual income through the form of referral fees on the production of the people they invite into the company. 6 months, this project, and I built it out in ClickFunnels. I'm wearing a ClickFunnels shirt today. 6 months, it was top of my list, and the team was like, hey, when are you going to work on this? When are you going to work on this? And finally, in this magic time, 5:45 to 7:15, I get, the family starts to get up around 7:15. The dogs, I keep them sleeping until 7:15. So it's just me here physically in my office. And 7 days, 7 of these 90-minute sessions for me to build this project that now is going to be implemented by hundreds of people. It's an additional revenue stream for my entity. Super low cost. We basically just charge it out at cost. But it allows others now to reproduce and replicate what I've done for themselves. And so it's a massive value add that never would have gotten done if I hadn't committed to this magic time. And lately I haven't been feeling so well. I've been a little bit under the weather, so I haven't done it lately. So my encouragement there is that it's not going to be perfect all the time. There are times where your kids might get up at 5:30 and all of a sudden you're making breakfast at a random time, or you're spending time with your kid because it's a rare opportunity to connect with them. So don't be hard on yourself if you get out of this cadence, but think about that. The promise of the podcast today was, what's a cadence that you can implement in your business to have more peace through just being more clear, having clarity around your business. 3-year vision, 1-year plan, a quarter at a time, 13 weeks in a quarter, the weekly commitments, the daily cadence, and then challenging you guys to put in your calendar. I like Friday mornings for the clarity break, 60 minutes. I like Sunday evenings for the weekly planning session. And then your magic time really could be 7 days a week. You really 7 days a week, you could theoretically, I don't do it on Saturday and Sunday. But you could do at least 6 days a week, where 90 minutes times 6 days, you're getting your most important work done. This will change everything for you. I promise you. And I would say this: if you're struggling with your time right now and you can't really actually imagine, where you could get time. I've done this before and I had some people take me up on it, but I've got something called, it's a time study that we implemented with our members, so they can get clarity on where they're spending their time and where they can get back time. One thing I had to do it in order to implement magic time, that first part of the day, that 5:45 to 7:15, I had to give up TV 5 evenings a week. I found that TV for a couple hours from like 8:39 to 10:30, 11 I was just going to bed late and waking up late. I need to get 7.5 hours of sleep. That's a commitment I've made to my physical body. And you can't do it if you're going to get up at 5:30. So 5:30, backtrack 7.5 hours. You have to be sleeping by 10 o'clock. So you have to be in bed, head on pillow by about 9:30 in order to pull that off. And so a time study is a tool that you could use to figure out where you're spending your time. And it allows you just to be honest with yourself about where your time is actually being spent. And so if you know that you could benefit from that tool, just send me an email at lars@realestatebschool.com. That's lars@realestatebschool.com. And I will personally email that time study to you, because I really want you to start to, not just say you want to achieve big things, but actually be able to carve out the time and implement a cadence and a structure that will allow you to get there. So my friends, another awesome, just a little bit of time I get to spend with you. So much love, much respect. We'll talk to you guys soon. Be good.